Using the notes that you have up above, what you're going to do in these types of problems is look for the key phrase that tells you which equation you need to use. So number 11, it says y varies directly with the square of x. So if you look up above, that means you're going to use the equation y equals k times x squared. Y equals 180 when x equals 6. So put 180 in place of y and 6 in place of k. Divide both sides by 36 to figure out that k equals 5. Now this particular problem doesn't specifically ask us for the constant of variation, but you cannot write an equation if you don't have that constant of variation. So the first thing that you must write down is the equation. You're going back to this equation, but now you know what k is. So y equals 5x squared. If you don't write that, the problem is wrong. So make sure you take the time, read your directions. If it says write an equation, make sure that you write that equation. Then it asks you to find the value of y when x equals 2. So plug in 2. Remember PEMDAS, you must square before you multiply. So this is 5 times 4, which is 20. Number 12, I'm guessing that most of you would read through this problem and immediately say, no, I'm out. Ohm's law states that with a constant voltage, the current I flowing through a wire varies inversely as the resistance R of the wire. Yeah, how many of you are actually still with me? So what we need to do is read through this again and see if we can find something that looks familiar. So seriously, this is how I read this. Blah, 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 blah. Ooh, varies inversely. I know what that means. Varies inversely means we're going to use the equation y equals k divided by x. But it doesn't say y and x, it says I and R. So instead of y, it's going to be I, and instead of x, it's going to be R. Now I'm going to look through here and find out everything I possibly can about I. So I is the current, and if I look through here, I see the current is 6 amperes. So the label is amperes, or amps. Some of you might know the word amps. Now let's find everything we can about R. R is the resistance. And if we look through here, resistance is 20 ohms. So our label is ohms. Now I'm going to replace I and R with these values that it gives us. So the current I is going to be 6 when the resistance is 20. Once you wade through all of that stuff, this is actually pretty easy. To figure out what k is, all we have to do is multiply both sides by 20. 6 times 20 is 120. So I find out that 120 equals k. Now let's look at what they actually want us to do once we figure out that k is 120. It says find the constant of variation, which is the voltage. Well, that's kind of cool. I already found the constant of variation. So my first thing that I need to do is find that the constant of variation is 120, and it tells me that's the voltage, so 120 volts. then it also wants me to write the equation of inverse variation. So now that I know that it's 120, I can do I equals 120 over R. So I understand that when you read this question, your brain is thinking, I don't know any of these words, I don't get it, I don't want to do it, I give up. But if you look through here and can at least find the phrase varies inversely and recognize this equation, replace the letters with the things that are in this actual problem, and just kind of start whittling away at this problem piece by piece by piece. It's really not that bad once you get past the crazy terminology that they're using. In the next part, it wants to know what is the current. Remember, the current is I. And by writing these two things out, you're really going to help yourself out a lot. So what is the current I when the resistance R is 8 ohms? So they want us to plug 8 into this equation. So I equals 120 divided by, and we're plugging in 8 ohms for the resistance. 120 divided by 8 is 15. So I equals 15. Now what label should we use for I? Because we wrote all this stuff down, we know that we can use amperes or amps. So what is the current when the resistance is 8 ohms? 15 amps. This next question's a little bit weird. What is the voltage? Look back at the problem. The only place I see voltage is when it talks about the constant of variation. Well, we already found the constant of variation is 120. Why are they bringing this up again? They want you to think again about the fact that the constant of variation stays constant. So if the constant of variation was 120 volts up here, it's still 120 volts down here. So the voltage is 120 volts.